This is a broadcast of SmallCapVoice.com, a financial communications and investor relations firm. SmallCapVoice.com receives payment for investor relations and financial consulting services that it provides to its clients. You should assume that officers, directors, and employees of SmallCapVoice.com or financial analysts mentioned and their families hold a position and intend to trade in these securities for their own accounts. This is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as, investment advice. As in all investments, an investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This broadcast does not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from the featured company and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by SmallCapVoice.com as to completeness or accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice.
You're wired in. SmallCapVoice.com. Following is a presentation of SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support. Now, with your online business briefing, SmallCapVoice.com's Stuart T. Smith.
Welcome one, welcome all to this online business briefing brought to you by SmallCapVoice.com. And as you just heard, I'm your host, Stuart Smith, and we're welcoming back to the show PositiveID Corporation. The company's released some blockbuster news of late, and you'll want to know that ticker symbol to find it, PSID. Now, we're welcoming back to the show Lyle Probst. We're going to have Lyle on here for the first time as the president of PositiveID, though. So, Lyle, good morning and welcome back to SmallCapVoice.com. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Well, congratulations on your appointment as the president of PositiveID.
Thank you, appreciate that.
You bet. To start off our interview and to better acquaint our listeners with you, could you please give us a brief summary of your professional background, Lyle?
Sure, I'd be glad to. I've been working in the detection and diagnostic space for about the last 14, 15 years. I started out in this field at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, where I initially worked on the Human Genome Project, and then shortly after 9/11 happened, I moved over into the biodefense arena and worked in the development of what is now the BioWatch program that's nationwide for monitoring for the release of a potential biological weapon, and help to develop that system and to deploy it nationwide, and designed and manufactured the mobile vehicle that goes along with that program. After I finished up that work, I moved into the Biodefense Knowledge Center, also at Lawrence Livermore Laboratory. And then from there, working on several different detection systems, I left the laboratory and came to the company to help develop the N-band system, the microfluidic bioagent autonomous network detector. So I took on the role of managing that program and seeing it through to completion. And that was a 7-year program under the Department of Homeland Security within their Science and Technology division. And that was a program where we developed a next-generation automated system for the BioWatch program. That system has been completed and has been field tested within the Department of Homeland Security. And we are looking forward to when we can deploy those systems and put them to good use. So I've been with the company now. It was Microfluidic Systems. We were acquired by PositiveID several years ago and made that transition. So I've been with the company a little over 7 years now and continue to work in this detection diagnostic space.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Lyle. Now, in the past month, PositiveID has made two very significant announcements. First, you announced that you signed a contract with UTC Aerospace Systems to support a contract for the U.S. Department of Defense. This contract will support the DoD's Jupiter program, which is intended to detect biological threats in order to protect our nation's warfighters as well as our allies. Can you please help us understand this contract and what it means for the company?
Yeah, you bet. So we were just recently awarded this contract, and an overview of what it is at a high level is the Department of Defense is running this program as a test and evaluation program. They are taking different types of detection technologies, not just for the biothreat agents like what we work with, but also chem agents and some other threats. They're taking the different technologies and they're bringing them together in one venue to test them side by side as an evaluation of these systems for where they could best be used in military applications. So there's going to be a couple of different test arenas. One is going to be at the Edgewood Chemical Biological Center, where they're going to take our systems, the M-band systems that I mentioned a few minutes ago, and they're going to put them into a test chamber and test them against the organisms of concern to evaluate what the system's capabilities are to detect these threats. They're also going to have us send the systems to Korea and put them in a field environment there where they're going to run them outdoors and look at how the system performs in a real-life environment. This program is critical for us at PositiveID because it gives us an opportunity to demonstrate the capabilities that we have developed in the M-band system. It does run for 30 days unattended in between resupplying reagents, and it monitors for the biological threat. Every few hours, every 3 hours, it's putting out a result of whether something's been detected or not. And for us, what this means is that they are going to compare us to other types of technologies, and it also gives us the opportunity to look at putting it in a field application for a military-specific purpose. They had at one of our military bases to offer another level of protection for those who are protecting our country. So for us, it's significant on a couple of levels. One, we're able to demonstrate our technology capabilities. Two, we're looking at it as an application to help protect our nation's war fighters, which is important to us.
Well, thank you so much for that, Lyle. Now, secondly, you and the company just announced that your teaming partner, Leidos, was awarded a prime contract by the U.S. Defense Threat Reduction Agency to conduct research and development to combat weapons of mass destruction. This contract has a total value of up to $4 billion. Can you please explain how PositiveID would work with Leidos on this and how the company might be able to benefit from this award?
Sure. So those who may not be familiar with Leidos was formerly SAIC, and we've been working with them for some time in other applications. And this particular contract award that came through DTRA, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, is one that is a lot of people refer to it as an open contract. And what it allows for is it's a funding mechanism or an avenue that can be used to fund efforts that are of high significance to the Department of Defense. And these contracts can be expedited or awarded quickly because this contract is already in place and it's open. So, as an example, if there's a need for something in the field detection capability that they want to develop and deploy, DTRA can contact Leidos on this, and we're looking for this particular technology that we need at the front lines. Let us know what you have and what it would take to develop it. We would then work with Leidos to develop a program and what it would take to meet the requirements they have, submit that to them, and it would all be underneath that contract that's already awarded. So the time from the first request to actually getting started on the work would be a very short period of time. Therefore, we would be able to complete the program sooner, which would save valuable time on these efforts, and it wouldn't be lost in the upfront process that typically one has to go through when there's a solicitation announced by the government. You apply to it. It's a down select. That can take several months, even more than a year at times, depending on the size of the program. So what this does is it streamlines that process, and it gives us an opportunity to work directly with Leidos, who's been a really good partner to work with, but also it gives us closer ties to be able to work with DTRA and some other corporations that are also under this contract with us that we're able to team with, and I believe be able to provide a better solution to the Defense Department for the needs that they have.
Excellent. That explanation is very helpful to myself, and I'm sure the shareholders and listeners. Now, it seems that PositiveID has really emerged as a leading biological detection and diagnostics company. Where do you see, as the newly appointed president, PositiveID within this industry, and how do you think the company's technology differentiates it from your competitors? In layman's term, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, let me see what I can do. So as a company, we are, as you mentioned, in detection and diagnostics. And where we fit in that market is we've been focusing on a niche market with government applications. And there's a real need for being able to detect threats to those who are deployed either in the military or monitoring a potential pandemic outbreak, such as an influenza or maybe an agricultural outbreak that's of concern. And where we're going as a company is we have a foothold in the biodetection space. We're expanding beyond that. We're expanding it out into clinical diagnostics and into PSID diagnostics. We're really pushing the laboratory from being in a building out to the field. And with the two products that we've been discussing openly, with the M-Band, which I mentioned earlier, the other we refer to as Firefly, which is a handheld device that does the detection or the diagnostics at the point of need. That system we're looking to deploy next year in test trials, and that is really where we're going as a company, is to push the laboratory out into the hands of the end user that are in the field, where they can take a sample, whether it be an agricultural sample or it be at a clinical diagnostic center. They can take that sample and they can have a laboratory grade result within a few minutes right there on the spot. So that alleviates the need to take a sample, take it back to a lab, and wait the 2 or 3 days to process it there. So as a company, where we're looking to grow and expand is into this broader market. We're taking the technology we developed for biothreat applications and we're applying it to these other applications in the agricultural field and in the clinical diagnostics field at the point of need. And what that does for us is that it differentiates us from the others that are in this market, where diagnostics that are happening now are still very much laboratory-based. The ones that are somewhat field deployable are large, and they're very expensive and typically not very user-friendly. And we're trying to overcome those challenges with our Firefly platform, to develop it to where it's easy enough that anybody can use it, that a third grader could run it, and that the results can be reported back to an operations center or a laboratory where the scientists or the technicians are at. And this does several things for those who are in the field. Is it reduces costs for what they're trying to achieve. It also allows them to get into areas which are very resource limited. You look at Africa as an example, with the amount of testing that happens there, whether it be for malaria or HIV or some of the other viruses that are quite devastating in that region. Part of the problem there is that you can't get the lab to where the people are. And what we're developing, what we're putting out there, is a capability that you can take it to those people right there at the point of care, at the point of need, and be able to do a diagnostic on the spot and report that back to a center, and not only be able to have the ability to treat the people sooner, but also to monitor the movement of the organisms that they may be exposed to and the spread of the disease. So that's where I see us going as a company and where we're growing, and that's where our main emphasis and our push is, to branch out into that area while still support the defense industry and the military personnel that are deployed, like with our M-Band system in monitoring air bases. So hopefully that was in terms that were in layman's terms, as you put it.
Absolutely, Lyle. It sure was, and we appreciate you breaking that down for us. Listeners, once again, we are speaking to PositiveID Corporation's newly appointed president, Lyle Probst. That you can find the company through its ticker symbol PSID. We've been discussing several of the recent press releases, namely the press release that just came out April 24th. Again, use that ticker symbol PSID to find these press releases, and if you'd like to reach out to the company directly, you could do so by contacting Allison Tomac at 561-805-8000. And you can learn more about the company at their website, PositiveIDcorp.com, or right here at SmallCapVoice.com. Well, Lyle, thank you so much for your time here today at SmallCapVoice.com. Congratulations once again, and we expect great things from you and your company here in 2014 and beyond. Thanks, Lyle.
Great. Thanks, Stuart. I appreciate it.
You bet. For Lyle Probst, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for listening.
SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support, provides its clients with the highest level of service. Our audio interviews are disseminated to one of the largest opt-in audiences available today. How? We at SmallCapVoice.com believe in aligning and affiliating ourselves with other leaders within the investor relations community. By sharing resources, each affiliated firm is made that much stronger and each client is served that much better. Our focus is to identify and provide the very best financial services and solutions available to clients and their shareholders. For more information about our services, please call us at 512-267-2430 or visit us on the web at www.smallcapvoice.com.